I'm here to discuss and demonstrate the use of picture exchange communication systems, or Pecs boards. Typically when we have a new intake, if they are nonverbal, we will first introduce a coax, and if they're not really catching on, if they're having a hard time with it, what we will do to help with that is we will start a Pecs board with them. And what happens is we create two Pecs boards. One is in a 3-ring binder, with the front of the binder being the actual Velcro part, and then the inside is where we store all their cards. And that goes home with them for man training with their parents, to help with communication at home. And then we also have our clipboard Pecs boards here at the clinic, where they have access to this all day. We usually keep it on the table right in front of them throughout their programs. We do about an hour in the morning when we do manding that totally focuses on manding for the hour in the morning. And then we do manding interspersed with the programs, and then we do about an hour at the end of the day, just to make sure they get enough practice with this and to increase their manding repertoire. So when we get a new intake and they're nonverbal, we typically will assess if they need a Pecs board, and if they're a lower functioning child, we typically start off with only 2 cards on the Pecs board, mainly to it's mainly for discrimination. So it'll look like this. So we'll have a determined high reinforcer and a blank card. And so what will happen is if we put this in front of the child, we typically start off with gesture prompts. So I'll say, what do you want? And then point to the fish cracker, and when he pulls it off, it's a fish cracker. And then we let them start doing it independently the more that they show us that they have this skill. If they pull the blank card, we say nothing, place it back on the card, and allow them to try again. And we keep doing that until they begin to catch on, and then we'll start adding on new Pecs. Right now we have a child whose Pecs board looks like this. He has about 3 choices in the blank card, and we determine the choices based on quick preference assessments for that, or about every 2 hours. And then they move on to more and more cards, and then once they have shown us that their repertoire is built highly with the picture cards, we'll move on to word cards. So like this one says iPad, and we'll introduce them slowly. And this gets them ready for our speech generating devices, which we use iPads and a program called SpeakAll, which has been really beneficial for a lot of our kids. And so Pecs boards are really good for kids that are nonverbal and have limited language, and maybe they're hard to understand. And we typically will use the Pecs boards along with echoic programs to try to increase their speech as much as possible and their imitation of speech. And if they start imitating their echoics consistently and correctly, we'll start doing man training with echoics with verbal prompts, and we'll start to fade this out as much as possible to where they're manding verbally and vocally. But sometimes we do have a couple cases where the child never starts to imitate language, and if that's the case, then we absolutely start to move them towards the speech generating devices. Like I said, we use SpeakAll, and that has improved a lot of our kids' behaviors, and it works for us. And I think this is a very beneficial way to help with man training or with communication skills, and decreasing problem behaviors. We have had a couple, many kids who have come out here with problem behaviors just because they couldn't communicate their wants and needs, and this has been a big help. We just recently had a breakthrough with someone, and now I no longer needs this, and it's been a great experience. And that's our Pecs. Thanks.